Hello everyone, and welcome to the official SWGT YouTube channel. My name is Sarusa. Today we're taking a look at SWGT Update 5.16.0, which introduces band counters, an import and export feature for account summary settings, Siege season leaderboards, and more. Let's dive in. The first update line takes us over to the Siege leaderboards, and to get there we're going to go to the hamburger menu and go to the leaderboards. And up at the top here I have added a drop down now, so by default the leaderboard is going to always show current. But you can go back and choose, let's say, season 14, and you can see who the winners were for season 14, what their points were, what their rank was, so on and so forth. So just a little nice update there. The next update line takes us over to the monster view page. And so if I just pick any monster with, say, Intangible or Seal Runes. So there's an issue before where SWGT did not properly support Seal Runes. So I went through and fixed that. And I also fixed a big issue with Intangible Runes. So Comp just introduced the Intangible Runes a while ago. And these runes are used to replace one rune as a part of a set. So for instance, in my case here, it is replacing one of my violent runes in order to actually make the set. So a big thank you to Archmage Grom for sitting with me and working with me for a few hours to try and work through all these different details. Spoiler alert, intangible runes are a lot more complicated than I had originally thought. There are a lot of use cases where intangible runes don't work. So it was quite a bit of work. And so again, another big thank you to Archmage Grom for helping me work through all of those details. And so I have gone through and made that fix. That fix does work on all of the team builder. It does work on your monster views, all of your comparisons. So basically anywhere where your monster sets are shown or compared. It also does work with. I had somebody actually submit one where they were using an intangible rune in place of a rage rune. So the set bonuses actually do get impacted properly too as well. The next update line takes us over to, for instance, the monster catalog. So under tools, you go to monster catalog. There was a case sensitivity issue. So let's say I searched for Cadiz with a capital versus Cadiz with a lowercase. The capital wouldn't actually bring back the results. So I went ahead and fixed that. On the SWGT personal side, if we go over to the account analytics and go to monster summoning log, I have gone through and added an enhanced search box as well as elements and natural stars. So if you wanted to see, say, I want to see when I summoned all of my L&D Nat 5s. That's a nice and easy filter now. It makes it a whole lot easier to go through and search through there as well. The next update line takes us over to the monster list page. So if you go to account analytics and go to monsters, and in the top right hand corner, if you switch over to list view. Now, I had some really neat feedback from somebody that was asking for rune status and artifact status. So they were saying, I'd like to be able to view all my monsters with runes, without runes, missing runes, artifacts, of certain elements, of certain archetypes, so on and so forth. And so adding it to the prior page really didn't make any sense because there's no concept of runes on this feature. But if we go over to the list view, as I said, there is a concept of runes on this side. And so I did make the list view in order to help people understand which monsters are missing runes, what slots they're missing, so on and so forth. But it did make natural sense for me to go ahead and add on some new statuses here as well. So for instance, if I want to search for all of my monsters with their normal build that were missing runes, and let's say the artifacts are perfectly fine, and I'm just focusing on, let's say, light and dark. As you can see, as I go through and click, the screen refreshes, and my monsters are then updated accordingly. I can also choose the archetype too, so if I want to search for just the attack archetype or all of the HP archetype, all of that, of course, works as well. And then you can go through on the far right-hand side and click on the actual details, and you can see here which runes are actually missing. So in this case, Alexandra is missing rune 5, so that should be an easy fix there. So just a really neat concept. Somebody had recommended it, and I thought it made a whole lot of sense, so I went through and added it in this update here. The next update line takes us over to the My Profile menu, and this is something that has been asked for quite a while, but it is very complex. It took the better part of the week to go through and add this functionality. And so if I go into, again, My Profile, and I go into Functions, and I go to Setup, I did go through and add in an import and export functionality. So in SWGT, a lot of these things are configurable, especially on the personal side. A lot of people go through and configure their account summaries and which orders and which runes they want, as well as all of the different rune metrics, so on and so forth. But one of the feedback items that I've been getting is, I want to go through and play with my settings. So without losing anything, how can I go through and play with my settings and not lose where I was as far as overall metrics? And so now I've gone through and added an export button, which will go through and download a JSON. And you'll see up here in the right-hand corner, the user player settings with user player and the actual number. So this is my actual user player number in SWGT itself. And every time you run the export, it'll go through and make a new JSON file. So what's nice about that is that later on, as you go through and make tweaks, if you completely mess it all up, or let's say you want to share it with a friend, you can then go through and choose on the import. You can choose that file locally. And then the neat thing is that I did allow you to go through and pick which elements you want to import. So let's say you're happy with your server, you're happy with your Rune defaults for efficiency, and your artifact defaults for your efficiency, all of the various different colorings for Siege, but you only wanted to import the account summary settings from one of your friends, or perhaps one of your older saved files too. So you would go through and choose your file. You would leave this one as turned on, and then you would press upload, and then all those settings get restored back to whatever is in that current file. So very nice feature, a very, very powerful feature. As you can imagine, it is very complex. There are a lot of settings. If we were to take a look at that file, you can see that there is just a lot of data in that file. There is a lot of different elements that have to get saved in order to make all of it work. So really nice functionality. I figured that this was the right approach because it allows you to go through and share it. I had originally thought, what if I created a way to snapshot your settings in SWGT, and maybe I made a way of making it like, let's say, the past 5 settings. But the issue with that is that you wouldn't be able to share it with your friends or anybody else. So my thought here was if I make it exportable to a JSON, then that is probably the best way. Switching over to the guild side, if we go up to account analytics and we go to monster summoning log, I did go through and add the same element and natural stars filter and search filters as there is on the main site. So that is a nice functionality there. And the last up the line, it takes us over to the 3MBC menu and over to band counter maintenance. So I had somebody say in Discord, I have somebody that is using a team that is a counter, and yes, it does work, but it's only working because they have very high rune quality. Whenever they submit the counter or whenever they submit a battle log, it's going to automatically get added in there as a counter through the SWGT plugin. And so, how do I prevent it from being added all the time? And so I thought to myself, what if I added a band counter feature? And so that's what I have added here today. So again, under the 3MBC menu, under band counters, you have to have full access to 3MBC on your guild sites. But essentially what you can do is you can come in here and you can define a counter. You can do it for all defenses or just a specific defense. So let's say you had, what this actual defense is. So let's say we'd had a Kamoon, a Bastet, and an Odin, right? And then you never want to see, you would add in your 3 monsters for the counter, and then you would go ahead and press save. And so you can see I've added an Odin, a Bastet, and a Bethany counter to all defenses that is technically banned. And so obviously this counter does work, but it is an example only. That anytime I would add in this counter for any defense, it would not allow it. So just some overall nice functionality. I know that there are people out there that have very high rune quality and that are in much lower guilds, and they are, essentially brute forcing their way through Siege and of course World Guild Battle too. So hopefully this will help you guys as far as, stop adding all those counters that you don't want. So hopefully it'll also help to make your approve process a little bit shorter. And that's it for today. I just wanted to say a thank you to all the Patreon members who subscribe to SWGT and to all the people that constantly give feedback about the platform. It's only through your support and efforts that SWGT is what it is today. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. We all make SWGT better together. And with that, don't forget to smash those like buttons, and I'll see all of you on the battlefield.